Thematic Productions.
Are you ready?
Live from the Metal Mayhem Studios in Rochester, New York.
We are gold. We are gold.
And heard around the world by metalheads just like you. This is Metal Mayhem ROC.
Heavy metal music.
Your weekly dose of metal music, interviews, album reviews, news, and more. Want to be part of the show? Send us a message through our website, metalmayhemroc.com, or hit us up on Facebook and Twitter. Search Metal Mayhem ROC.
It's getting nice and heavy.
Now, welcome our hosts, John the Vernomatic Verno, and direct from New Jersey, Metal Walt.
Good evening, everybody. Hope everyone's doing well, staying safe, staying healthy, and enjoying what's turning out to be one of the most fantastic and beautiful autumn seasons in recent memory. Tonight, we welcome Courtney Cox of the all-female powerhouse band Burning Witches onto the show. Metal Walt talks with Courtney about the band's new album, Inquisition, how it's built on themes of empowerment, mysticism, and rebellion. Courtney also shares her journey from Los Angeles to Europe as the band's only American, her time touring with KK's Priest and LA Guns a few years ago, and what's next for Burning Witches in 2025 and touring plans for 2026. It's a cool interview. She's really down to earth, part of this metal fraternity. She talks about what it's like really hanging out with KK Downing of Judas Priest and Tracy Guns, and just, again, really cool interview from a cool girl. Now, check this out. We're promoting a Kings of Thrash show up here in Rochester, New York on October 21st. Kings of Thrash is Dave Ellefson, Jeff Young of the early Megadeth era. I realize a lot of you are listening to this and you're not in the Rochester or Western New York area. But if you are, get up to the website, metalmayhemroc.com, and sign up for the newsletter. And we're giving away two pairs of tickets for the show. So it's all free. Just sign up for it. And other people out there, still get up to the website, sign up for the newsletter, because there you get alerts on new podcast episodes, alerts for our radio show on Monday night on Metal Devastation Radio, YouTube interviews on our YouTube interview channel, and other specials. A lot of times we get stuff from publicists and record labels, and we just pass it along to you. So again, that's metalmayhemroc.com. While you're there, check out the merch page. Tons of cool stuff there. And if you missed some recent episodes, it's all up there too. Last week, James Rivera of Hellstar. 2 weeks before that, we had Ian Hill of Judas Priest, Glenn Hughes of Deep Purple a few weeks before then. So there's tons of content. And if you like what we're doing here, do us a favor. Subscribe to the pod wherever you listen. Drop us a review. All right, let's get the Inquisition going. Courtney Cox, Burning Witches. For my co-host, Metal Walt, I'm the Vernomatic, and we are Metal Mayhem ROC.
Today's guest is Courtney Cox of the all-female powerhouse metal band Burning Witches. She joins us today to discuss the band's brand new album, Inquisition, out now on Napalm Records. Courtney, how are you today?
I'm doing well. Back home in the States, enjoying some family time, and just excited that this album's finally out.
Exactly. Well, we just talked for a minute off air. Come to find out, we're kind of like sort of neighbors. I'm in Jersey. You're down in Philadelphia. So East Coast, baby. Exactly, right?
Oh, wow.
So, maybe before we get into the history of the band and the new album, so you joined in 2023, and you're the only American in this sort of all Swiss or European band. So maybe in a sense, how did this change things with the girls and the culture of the band?
Well, I always say that, one American's enough. So they got me. I'm a handful myself, but we've been friends for a very long time. We met on tour when my previous band, the Iron Maidens, were in Europe. And the Witches, I believe they were on their first album cycle touring. They opened up for us in Austria, and we just became best friends ever since. Upon meeting, it led to me doing a guest solo on their Hexenhammer record on a song called Maiden of Steel, because Iron Maidens, no pun intended. And then, fast forwarding through COVID, we did some jams together when everyone was doing those videos for social media. And I blink of an eye, I'm a witch. And it's just been a wild ride so far. And I'm so fortunate and happy this came about.
Yeah, totally. So you are a permanent member of the band now, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Excellent. So I was reading somewhere else that you did move to Europe. So are you no longer a resident of the States? How's that work out?
When there was the talk of becoming a permanent member, I was living in LA at the time because obviously the Maidens were based out of there. And I was just kind of through with LA. I love LA to death. My friends are, all still there, but it was just time to move on, really. I was there 15, 16 years living and then 14 years within the Maidens. And I just had, at first I was flying back and forth to Europe from the States and it was just getting too much. So me being crazy that I am, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to move. So I packed up all my stuff from LA, drove everything to my childhood home and outside Philadelphia. And then with 2 days, I was on a flight permanently to Europe. I ended up in Germany. It's like a nostalgia thing. Like my father's side of the family's from Germany. So, it's just kind of reliving, like back to the roots kind of thing. And it's been great. Definitely culture shock. My German is still terrible. And now being home for a bit, my Philly accent's already back. Within 10 minutes of landing at, PHL, it's just been a wild ride and I ride it out and see where it takes me.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, but I studied German many years ago in high school and a little bit in college. It's probably one of the hardest languages. I've worked for European companies. German's tough. It's tough.
In high school, I wanted to take German, but my mom was like, no, you have to take Latin because of the SATs. And of course, when I get to 12th grade, they remove that section, taking the words apart section of the SAT out. I'm like, could have been fluent in German.
Yeah. Well, listen, I don't know how useful 20, 30 years ago would have been using German. I struggle. I can have some basic sentences in this, but still, what did I really get out of it? But anyway, so, hey, Courtney, the band's about 10 years in now, sixth album. This is the sixth album. I mean, since they were kind of a small Swiss project, but you guys have really grown into sort of this really respected global band. I mean, I know your time in the band is kind of shorter, but do you think there's any particular milestones or events in the band that really, the ladies would say this was the breakthrough moment for Burning Witches?
Well, going back to even when I first met them, the shows that they opened up for us, and they have opened up for us many times back when I was in Maidens I'm referring to. And they still have this sense, they just started this band out for fun and then it just started taking off. And every time they even have an interview now, that they still kind of kick themselves. Like they had no idea it would turn into this, force that it is. And yeah, it's just keep getting better and better. And that's all you do in a band. You just want to release the best music you can. And with this new album, I think, we're definitely climbing that ladder and pushing the envelope, really. So it's just really exciting with everything involved.
Yeah, so you could definitely see the growth in the band. I mean, what's awesome is, there's obviously been a huge movement of either all female fronted rock or metal bands or, full members or singers and that kind of, there's so many of them out there and it's a great thing, but there's not too many what I think is pure classic heavy metal, all female bands. Burning Witches, you guys check all those boxes. I mean, when you guys go out and set out to write, are you guys fans of Dio, Maiden, Priest? I'm assuming these are your inspirations, right?
The King Diamond, the list goes on. And that's the great thing. We all share the same influences. So when it comes down to writing an album, we don't even really have to think about it. We just shoot riffs back and forth for themes and ideas, and then boom, an album's done. And we probably still have enough material to even release a second one, so maybe we can go on vacation now.
Well, there you go. There you go. I mean, speaking of themes, again, this album especially, but even in some of the previous ones, there's a lot of themes about what I define empowerment, mysticism, rebellion. Is there any, let's call it theme or something as the band is, continuing this journey where you guys say, this is kind of who our persona is. This was what we're going to write about.
Well, I mean, with the name Burning Witches, it's perfect niche for heavy metal because there's so much material to write about. And then with the new one, obviously Inquisition, it's just the fear of the occult and turning family member against family member for the church. Everyone's a heretic. Confess now, that kind of thing. It's just the history and the fear of witches or anything evil. It's just so easy to write about, and there's a plethora of this for us to write about. So it just works perfectly with the niche of the band.
Yeah, and I think let's say, obviously, you guys are trying to grow in the States, but in Europe and outside South America, those fans eat that stuff up. They love that stuff, the traditional themes of metal, sorcery, and things of that nature. But, maybe before we start getting into the new album, I was wanted to wrap a part about you. But since you came into the band, I always think like with the big fan base outside of the States, these guys outside of the States are super loyal. Like, has there been any surprises to you or big fan moments that you could say, holy fucking crap, since I came in, that you can recall? Anything that geeked you out there?
Well, I'm just that East Coast person. I just ride the ride and, just enjoy every second I have to do what I love to do, which is play guitar and be on the road, be on stage, meeting new people, seeing new places, experiencing new cultures. I just kind of eat it up and just don't think about it too much. I live in the moment. So, but every moment has been great. I mean, can't even really think of anything that's been negative. So, there's that.
Yeah, sure. Of course. Let's get into the new album. So like you touched a little bit about on some of the, let's say the themes about it. But number one, the artwork is so striking, right? There's this elaborate image of kind of a witch in the middle, embers and flames. You see your faces illustrated all around. It looks like a campfire. Like, is there any representation there? Burning witches, literally in a sense, right? But there's got to be a little bit more to it.
I think our artist is really great. He paints everything first, and obviously goes into digitize everything. But yeah, talk about a master with color and just getting themes across, especially with the new album. He's just phenomenal and just knocks it out of the park every single time. And then, transferring just the album art to shirts, and then on the vinyl and CD cassette itself, it just pops. Because for me, growing up, when I started latching on the metal, it was more you saw the album cover first that made you want to get it. And then I wasn't alive yet, but back with the gore thing where they put the parental advisory thing on the album, made you get it even more. And I was that kid even, growing up early 90s. So you have the great tunes, but you also need the great artwork. So catch the eye as well. So yeah, love the album cover. So
no, it's totally, and you're right. It needs you have to sell merch. You have to advertise the band, right? And that stuff's going to look great out there. Yeah, it is kind of funny. I mean, I'm 55 years old, so I came from that era of buying cassettes and stuff like that. But yeah, it's kind of funny now. Like when we get these album releases through the press publicist, it's like it's a little square, 1 inch.
Yeah, they try to zoom in on the phone or something.
Yeah, it's like, oh, in an album cover, it's like it looks like a Q code. But hey, listen, that's the world we live in now. So, one observation on the music on this album versus, let's say, the last couple, it feels darker and heavier. Was there what inspired that shift in sound? Anything to the atmosphere you guys wanted to put behind this one?
Well, I mean, we had the theme for the album, Inquisition, obviously, which I had touched on. But, when we're writing music, we don't think about it really like we want to sound a certain way. Like the witches have definitely their own sound, whether it goes darker or less dark. It's just how we're feeling at the time and how the songs come out at the end in the studio. But we don't really think about it. But yeah, I've been hearing that a lot. Like, oh, it's the darkest one yet. And I was like, okay.
I want to touch on some of my favorite songs on the album, but I'm curious, how does the writing with you ladies work? I mean, okay, now you're not in the States, you're in Germany. I don't know if the other girls are in Switzerland, but I'm assuming everybody's all over the place. Do you guys get together old school ways, or is it a lot of sharing of files and stuff like that?
Yeah, well, thankfully with the new age of technology and being able to like send out phone recordings or stems from Pro Tools or Logic, that's pretty the primary way of doing it. I'm in Germany, the singer's in the Netherlands, and then the three main people in the band who've been there from the start, Jay, Lala, and Romana, they're Switzerland. So they get together quite frequently to, you do everything in the rehearsal studio. And then I view it as like for guitars anyway, between me and Romana, I view it as like the Metallica thing. Romana just send me all your riffs, and then she'll take what she likes and then put it into song, and then boom, everything's done. And then I'll go back once I have, structure of the riffs into bridge, chorus, all that, yada, yada. And then do the CC Shreds lead work and add harmonies. And yeah, it's pretty streamlined. It's a good thing. No stress, thankfully.
Sounds like it's got a nice process in place. Just kind of happened, right? So, the album. I love the way you kick off the album. I mean, it's Sanguini Hominum, which I believe is Latin for human blood. I researched it, so there you go. And the album closes with a little piece called Malus Maga. So nice two instrumental pieces, but the opening track, in a sense, Soul Eater. This is one of your 3 videos, but man, this song is just powerful and heavy.
Actually,
but what I like,
we did 4 for this album, actually.
Oh, 4. Okay, yep. Okay. Maybe there's one that's not out yet. I don't know about, but anyway, with Soul Eater,
like way back. So
okay, but Soul Eater, it's got sort of this unique groove in the chorus, and I love how Laura just just way up there. Some awesome twin guitar work. So maybe comment a little bit about this song.
Yeah, that was more of Romana's baby, and I went in and added harmonies and obviously the solo stuff. Actually, in that song, me and Romana go back and forth because I was really dead set on that. As much as Romana, obviously phenomenal, one of the best rhythm players, songwriters around. But when I came in, I'm like, yeah, we got to be Glenn and KK. We got to be, Smith and Murray. Like we're going to do this. And you'll hear that throughout the entire album. But yeah, right out the gate, Soul Eater, what a great song. And the chorus just hits you right in the face, like complete earworm. So great way to start an album.
Yeah, I like that term, earworms. High Priestess of the Night, to me, there's a little, this one's a little bit different, right? It's got a bit of a fuzzy main riff, a little doom kind of chill riff, and a little bit of a metal march in there. Not quite, but this one's definitely, it's catchy. It's got a little bit of a swagger to it. Definitely a departure from, the first song.
Yeah, it's like we have to give our hands a break sometimes. And, it's like, I think it was the first time really that, the Witches have done like a mid-tempo paced song like that. And we were just kind of viewing it like, every band has that like anthem song. And we're kind of viewing that as far as like our balls to the wall or, that kind of thing. And it's been going over well. We've been playing it live recently. And it's just a great catchy tune. And yeah, it's just simple riff that hits you in the face and catchy and, 80s-esque solo that grabs you as well and great ending. It's, just that quintessential heavy metal tune,
Yeah. I always say it's like if, traditional radio still sort of existed. It does to a degree. You got to find those. WMMR, we have a couple stations up by us, WDHA, but that would be kind of a radio track, right? That was one that you'd promote and say, here's our single, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Now, I had my notes actually corrected, about the 4 videos. So Spell of the Skull and then the title track Inquisition. These are your other videos. Spell of the Skull, like a lot of emotion in this one. Like that's the one I feel like is very anthematic. And of course, you're just shredding on that solo. Like I love watching the video. Just you're focused in the pocket. You just go off. It's awesome.
I showered that day for the video. No, so basically the 4 we did, we started with Spell of the Skull. The second video that came out was Mirror Mirror, which is I think the last track on the record song wise before the outro track. Yeah. And then came High Priestess of the Night, and then most recently Soul Eater. Yeah. We were very
Yeah, it sounds like you're busy. Now, what about, it's funny, I did watch all 4 videos, and every one of them seems to have a different plot to them. Like, can you comment on the storylines? Was there a particular story for each of them?
I mean, I don't even know how to comment on that, but it's, when we're writing, we don't want to have everything sound the same. It's a boring record to do that. And, as you heard, if you listen to the album, each track kind of has its own thing going on, which I'm really proud about. It's one of those albums like old school way that you want people to listen from the start to finish and not just randomly pick songs, because the vibes are all over the place. So it's definitely one of those albums, for me, in my personal opinion, listen to start to finish. And it just go on that wild ride of listening and take what you want from it. I really miss that old school way of, listening to an album from start to finish, because a lot of work goes into it, deciding which song goes where in the lineup. So,
yeah. Well, it's fun. It's funny, when I was listening to the album, Shame, I believe, is placed second on the album, and that's that's completely different track to me. It's like heavy, really groovy, and it's got the powerful one word.
Just that intro, the build up.
Shame.
You know something's coming. Love that kind of feel.
Yeah, but it's a big departure. It's a very, very different kind of track, but still heavy and unique in its own way. And then, of course, a track like Release Me, right? I mean, you could comment on it, but this one's slower. It's just soaring with melody, and the vocal delivery is just almost beautiful in a sense. There's so much variety in guitar styles. It's a completely different kind of track on the album.
Very emotional one. Those chords and that progression, I wrote actually back when I was in high school, and I've been sitting on that for years. I'm not going to say how old I am. And then when the talks came about, we got to do a ballad. You always have to do a ballad. We can thrash around and be all the time, but everyone has a heart and a heartstrings. So we're like, yeah, we're going to do it. And we're like, I have just the thing I've been sitting on for well over a decade or two. And I'm really proud about that one. I think solo-wise, my solos on the record, that's my favorite one. Just that one, Romana goes first in the main solo section. And then I come in with that long note, and you just feel everything I was feeling just in that one note. And it's one of my favorite solos on the whole record.
Yeah. But how great is that, right? You wrote this piece of music 10, 20, 25 years ago, whatever it is, and been sitting on something, a hard drive, a disc, right? And then you're like, I got to place this somewhere. And now finally there's the opportunity to bring it out and finish the piece with your bandmates.
Yeah. No, it wasn't a full song. That's the just this perfection of me and Romano working together. We get along so well, just a powerhouse, working together guitar-wise. She took all the things I sent, like, hey, I've had this for a long time, and then it just turned it into what's on the album. And like I said before, with everything, go back to solos and this and that, and just a master. I mean, I can say, I'm gonna, not toot my own horn, but I think it's a masterpiece of a song in my eyes. For me, after, living in a tribute band for 14 years, that was one track on this album that, I was beyond proud of. And yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a standout track. So actually, the whole album's great. I mean, there's other songs we could comment on, but I wish you girls and ladies the best of luck with the album. So moving into let's say the live setting. So before we talk about your tour plans, I was able to catch you guys on the LA Guns KK's Priest leg of the tour. You guys played Starland Ballroom in Sayreville, of course, in Jersey. And I will tell you, that was the first time I saw you guys. It was awesome. Awesome. But the audience that may not have known who you were like totally into it. Like, I mean, maybe just talk a little bit about that tour and kind of how those performances were received to a new audience.
Yeah, I mean, that was a tour for the books. We, before that US leg, we already had a tour with KK's Priest in the UK with Paul Diano. Just great tour that as well. They get to the States. And then me coming from LA, I've hung out and best friends with the LA Guns camp. So I'm like, oh, this is going to be a great tour for me because it's like a high school reunion, and every show was great. And then that Starland Ballroom show was kind of, other than the Keswick, which was the last show, I think, it was like me coming home. That's where I used to go as a kid. It was either Trocadero in Philadelphia, or I was going to Starland Ballroom or Dingbats, or, yada, yada.
There you go. Dingbats. You're throwing it out there. That's my neck of the woods.
So, was just so great to be there. All my family was there. It was this great show. And like I said, there was no bad apple on that tour. We all got along. We all supported each other. And yeah, we'll never forget it. It was such a great time.
Well, it was the triple bill, too, because, as the outlier band, I'm a kid of the 80s, but, you look at LA Guns on paper and you're like, wow, LA Guns with Burning Witches and KK's Priest, but LA Guns is heavy and they got just great songs. And, Phil Lewis, at his age, up in his 70s now, guy sings his fucking ass off. It was a great, great performance that night.
Great guys. And then obviously Tracy with, his history and the music scene. And I mean, all of them. It was a really great time. And yeah, at first everyone's like, LA Guns, what? But it went over so well because I think, for people maybe who didn't listen to LA Guns that much other than like the top 40 radio hits and the Ballad of Jane and, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. It's really surprised and or reminded of, took them back like, oh yeah. They are heavy. Yeah. It was a perfect bill. Hopefully one day we can do it again.
Yeah. How about KK Downing himself? Like, did you get a chance to spend some time on the tour and hang out with him? Like, what was your relationship with him?
Yeah, it was just such a nice, welcome guy. Obviously with his history, we're all huge, avid Judas Priest fans. So it was kind of hard not to be like fangirl every day.
Yeah.
But, just every day is just hang out and then for me, it was actually cool to be like the curtain jerker, as I say, because the minute we were done our 5 songs, we got to watch both LA Guns and KK and all of them, all the guys every night. And it was just like one big party every night. Like it's back to when I first started playing guitar, listening to these songs, it was just great.
We had Ian Hill on the show last week for an interview to talk about the upcoming U.S. tour, and I was asking Ian about that. I said, how does it feel for 50-something years to be sitting kind of in that back little corner in your pocket listening to these great guitar players? Exactly. And he says, Metal Walt, that's exactly where I like to be. I don't need to be in the spotlight. That's up for those other guys to do it.
Yeah. He definitely has this place and he does it well. It's like,
totally.
The rest can't even anymore. He's still rocking out in the back with the same moves since day one. Love him to death.
That's it. He doesn't look any different. Maybe he dyed his hair. That's about it. But now let's talk about some touring plans. I mean, there was supposed to be a tour kicking off in September that got moved out to the spring. But what's on tap for promoting it, especially in the States here?
That's why I'm home at the moment because I was unfortunate that the current state of the world and especially the States with getting visas. I mean, obviously I don't need one. Yeah. I'm American, but it was just, a lot of bands are going through this right now trying to get to the States. There's just a massive delay. So it was very unfortunate. At the same time, I took it as a kind of a blessing for myself and my family because it's so rare to have this kind of time off. Because I left the Philly area. I moved away to LA. It was 18, 19. So for me, this time off, as much as I'd love to be back on stage, it's kind of like catching up with my family for lost time. And then the same for the rest of the girls, catching up with family and getting things in order. Romana's about to give birth.
Wow.
Yeah. And life's crazy, especially when you're an all-female band,
Yeah.
I don't think of, what females have to go through being in a band, life just happens and, you have to think about family and all that stuff. And, then I think the next big one, I know there's some things in the mix for, I think towards the end of fall, pre-Christmas, but not confirmed yet. So I can't really talk about it.
Okay.
The next big one, we're on I think month and a half, almost 2-month tour in Europe. And we have support from a band called Hamburg King that we're really excited about. It's going to be a long one. And then just pushing through, new album cycle and then eventually end up back in the States come March. For the other scheduled stuff. So get to come home again, get more Wawa.
Well, there you go. And Wawa's, it's made its way to North Jersey over the last 5 years or so. So we were, it was always Quick Check and that was it. So Wawa does have better coffee, I gotta say. Yeah. So we'll you have a date in New Jersey over by me at Debonair Music Hall Teaneck, nice little venue there. So how about this past summer? Did you guys do any of the big festivals over in Europe? Any of those big shows?
As you do. it was a constant festival circuit. We did Hellfest, was huge. It's just, I mean, they all run together to me because you're constantly on the road. But it's such a eye-opening experience being American, living over there, and all these festivals. It's like a festival every weekend. So you're here, there, everywhere. I'm used to growing up, especially coming from East Coast. It was maybe when I was growing up, you had Ozfest. That was it.
Yeah.
In Camden, New Jersey at the Tweeter Center. And, it's just such a great experience. So we did that. We just finished up with a festival in Italy, which ended up being our CD release show. And yeah, that was great. And here I am now, gearing up, just go right back out and do what we love to do. And, we're road warriors. So can't wait to be back.
Excellent. Good stuff. Well, we wish you the best of luck on the album and the tour. So outside of the band, you touched on the Iron Maidens. I know you had your cup of coffee with Femme Fatale. Lorraine Lewis is a fan of the show. But anything else you want to showcase? Anything else you got going on musically?
Well, I've been chipping away at a solo record for years, but I have ADHD, so it's kind of like I'm that person that doesn't perform very away for a year. But Burning Witches at the moment, obviously 100% focus. But, my solo record stuff will come out eventually. I mean, that's more for me and not any kind of validation kind of release.
Yeah.
You have to at least do one. But other than that, it's just full-blown Burning Witches and just enjoying every second of it.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. Well, it's been great to talk to you, Courtney. And for our listeners, just remember, Northeast Power, whether you're from North Jersey or South Jersey or Philadelphia, Northeast rules. So for more information on Burning Witches, head over to burningwitches.ch for all of their news, tour dates, and links to their socials. Courtney, appreciate the time today. So for my guest, Courtney Cox, I'm Metal Walt, and this is Metal Mayhem ROC. Thanks, Courtney.
My pleasure, man.
All right, we'll see you down the line.
I'll see you soon.
Enjoy being home, and we'll see you in March at the Debonair.
Will do. See you soon.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Metal for life.
Thank you for listening to Metal Mayhem ROC. Check out our website at metalmayhemroc.com for information on podcasts, archives, links to all our live radio shows, and all sorts of info. Please like, follow, and share with everyone, even your non-metal friends. And always remember to keep it heavy.